and we can start.
Oh, some interesting tickers. Actually, we're going to talk about several tickers that we have in the Q&A. I see here BTBT, SOXL, IBIT, a lot of Bitcoin stocks, Ben.
Our viewers are professionals.
Okay, questions about the gold, silver, interesting, NVIDIA. Oh, interesting tickers.
Aerospace and defense sector. All right, are we ready?
We are ready. Robinhood. Oh, MSTR. Interesting tickers. Thank you, guys. We will try to do this webinar as interactive as possible. So feel free to use the Q&A, and we will try to address as many questions as possible. As Ben mentioned, we have very, very interesting webinar today. We are going to talk about the market. We are going to share some live predictions. We are going to talk about the forecast that basically we have shared in the previous webinars. We are going to talk about leading sectors in the market, leading industries, leading stocks, and we are going to share some live forecast for leading stocks. As Ben mentioned, we have several surprises in this webinar, so I strongly recommend you to stay until the end. At the end, we're going to share some live forecast for the upcoming month. I'm going to start with a quick introduction of IKnowFirst. We are an AI company. IKnowFirst is an AI company. Our main solution is a predictive algorithm that generates daily forecasts for the financial market and identifies the most promising investment opportunities. We are utilizing deep learning, artificial neural networks, genetic algorithms to predict the financial market. Our predictive algorithm is generating daily forecast for over 13,500 assets from different asset classes, equities, ETFs, commodities, currencies, world indices with daily forecast for multiple timeframes, short-term, mid-term, and also long-term. This is a global solution. We are covering over 50 global stock exchanges, including the stock exchanges in the US, Europe, Asia, including Japan, China, Singapore, India, and many more. And let's jump directly to the market that we have seen in Friday. Ben, what do we see here?
Yeah, we're seeing the forecast from last Friday that our clients got to their mail before the trading starts. We have here two kind of packages. The one is the under 10 package, and we're seeing just the first stock that in this specific forecast in the top left corner, we see MIEP, MI Pharma, a biotech company that actually jumped 31% on Friday. We can see here in the bottom. And to the right from our options package, we find Open Door Technologies that jumped 36% and a lot of other percentages in the next last days and next days after, next days before, sorry. And this specific company that that actually gives a digital platform to buy and sell residential real estate to clients as a really strong signal, and we're going to talk about it later on in the webinar. But those two simple examples from Fridays shows us the abilities of the algorithm to identify the best stocks for each and every time frame and day, and we're going to learn about it later on in the webinar.
Yeah, what's unique about this forecast is the pretty strong signal that we have seen for those tickers. As discussed, we are going to talk about that later on. Okay, so let's continue. In terms of the I-Know-First team, the I-Know-First predictive algorithm was developed by our R&D team, a unique team that being led by Dr. Lipa Reutemann from the Weizmann Institute of Science, one of the leading experts in the field of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, with over 23 years of experience. Dr. Reutemann is leading our R&D team that includes PhDs, AI and machine learning experts. We have math professor from Tel Aviv University, as well as employees with the background of data science, computer science, math, statistics, and also IDF veterans, specifically from the intelligence unit. My name is Yaron Golger. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of I-Know-First. I'm also lecturing at one of the leading universities in Israel for fintech and also AI. I'm engineer with EMBA from the Ben Gurion University. Ben, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Ben Rubin. I'm the head of advisory in I-Know-First. I used to work in the big bank in Israel, Bank Hapoalim, as a financial advisor, and I'm helping Yaron presenting the webinars here once more.
Yeah, Ben is going actually to lead the webinar today, and I can guarantee that it's going to be super interesting. Okay. In terms of our clients, the I-Know-First predictive algorithm is being trusted by the world's leading hedge funds, investment houses, banks, family offices, and also high net worth individuals and retail clients from all over the world that utilizing the AI algorithm in order to identify opportunities in the market on a daily basis. In this list, we can find leading banks, leading hedge funds, leading family offices, and also several investment houses. With some of them, we have developed and actually produced several AI-powered investment products. Some of them are being listed in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. It's thanks to our partnership with Meitav Investment House. Basically, we have launched the first AI-powered mutual fund that already being listed in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, and we are planning to do it in several additional regions across the globe. The predictive algorithm that you are about to see has received several international awards from UBS, from Entity Data in Japan, and also from the Geneva Wealth Tech Forum, one of the leading forums for wealth tech solutions. Here you can find several photos from those events. We are also really proud to have a partnership with one of the leading universities in Israel. We are delivering fintech course for the third year already. And in our website, you can find several reports about the predictive algorithm that I think it could be interesting for you to see the coverage, the media coverage. And also you can find several clients review that can assist you to identify the package that might fit your needs.
And of course, feel free to join our growing community on the WhatsApp group. You can scan the QR code that you see on your screen and join our WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group, we are actually sending a future forecast. We're showing some past predictions and AI articles about everything that is trendy right now. So you can join for free. Just scan the QR code that appears here on your screen and join our WhatsApp group. And by the end of this webinar, we're gonna publish our forecast for the Magnificent Seven for the next 2 weeks. So You can only see that on our WhatsApp group. You can get it for free. So just sign in and get the Magnificent Seven forecast for the next 2 weeks.
So basically, we are offering two solutions to our client. On one end, we are providing daily predictions that identifying the best opportunities in the market on a daily basis. Basically, as we can see, we are providing heat maps of opportunities that includes 6 timeframes, short, mid, and also long term. So this is the first solution that we are going to discuss in this webinar, the daily forecast with the best opportunities that we are providing to you basically every day before the opening. On top of that, we have developed several systematic trading strategies, strategies with monthly rebalancing that rely on our AI forecast. And here's the idea is to convert the daily forecast into a portfolio. We are going to discuss it in this webinar as well, and we're going to see several examples and also products that we are offering based on this solution. The InnoFirst predictive algorithm includes 3 components. By using the first component, it's possible to identify the most promising investment opportunities every day based on your risk preference. You can choose the stock universe that might be relevant for you. And from this stage, the AI algorithm is identifying the best opportunities on a daily basis. The second solution is providing to you stock market intelligence on a daily basis. By utilizing this solution, it's possible to identify the best sector in the market, to identify the best region in the world, and also to get insights regarding sectors and regions that we should avoid. We're going to see several actually live examples in this webinar. And the last component is basically providing us the option to get a customized forecast based on each client portfolio. So if you have a specific stickers in your portfolio, like the tickers that you have shared in our Q&A window, it's possible to get the custom forecast based on our AI algorithm for those specific tickers. Basically, we are suggesting to combine those 3 solutions when taking investment decision on a daily basis, basically. So how we do it? We are relying on quantitative data sets. The AI algorithm is basically taking into account on a daily basis huge amount of data sets that coming from the entire financial market. We are using data that coming from the different equities market that we are monitoring. We are utilizing data that coming from the interest rate environment, data that coming from the commodity market, currencies market. We're trying to combine a data set that representing the financial system. We are adding the daily data into our historical database. And on a daily basis, the AI algorithm is learning from the new data that coming all the time from the financial market, also from the historical data sets, and also for the combined data. And by utilizing our technology, the AI algorithm is building the complex network that exists in the financial market. There are thousands of correlation sets in the financial markets, and the AI algorithm is able to build this complex network by utilizing our technology without any human intervention. And this network is being built on a daily basis from scratch. And you are receiving basically the bottom line, the forecast with the best opportunities for the short term, the best opportunities for the midterm, and also the best long-term opportunities. Of course, this forecast is being sent on a daily basis before the market opening. We are combining different AI approaches into one predictive algorithm. We are utilizing deep learning, artificial neural networks, genetic algorithms, supervised learning, and reinforcement learning. And the goal is to separate and to focus on the most predictable assets on a daily basis. Not everything is predictable in the financial market. However, the algorithm is able to filter out the assets that are not predictable and to focus on the most predictable assets. And we are going to show you in this webinar which indicator you should follow in order to identify the most predictable assets in the markets. So if we're taking the US market as an example, we are screening the entire US market. We are applying our technology in order to identify the most predictable assets. Then we are creating a ranking of all the stocks in order to identify the best stocks, the best opportunities on a daily basis. And this process is being done on a daily basis.
All right, so how to read the daily forecast is, so as we can see, the forecast comes in the shape of a heat map. We can see it on the screen. We have green cells that represent long position, and we have red cells that represent short position or selling positions. And in each and every square, we'll find three things. We can find the symbol that, for example, NVDA in this specific square. We can find the signal that is located in the center of the square, and we can find the predictability that is located on the left bottom corner of each and every square. And the signal is actually represent the predictive movement of the asset. It actually gives us the price deviation of this specific asset, and it mainly helps us to rank the entire investment universe from the strongest signal that is actually located on the top left corner of the heat map. And we can see that it goes down to the right until the most negative signal that we can find in the bottom right of the heat map. In this case, NVIDIA has the strongest signal. We can see it by 1.32. And the signals help us actually to rank this entire investment universe, and we can know which asset has the most potential strength to move to the predicted direction. In this case, the algorithm thinks in the 1 month time frame, NVIDIA has the best potential to move up in the next following month. And the second indicator that we are using to identify the best stock out of the forecast is the predictability. The predictability is in Pearson correlation measurement. It can actually move from -1 to 1, and it actually tells us how good the algorithm can predict this specific asset. So the highest the value is, the best the algorithm can predict this specific asset. The numbers, if we're getting into perspective, 0.0 represents 50% probability that the algorithm will predict this specific asset. 1 represents 100%. So 0.5, it actually gives us around 75% probability that the algorithm can predict this specific asset. In both cases, we will look for the highest values and focus on the highest values, but giving more weight to the predictability. And we'll show you what do we mean by that later on. But just for you to know, those are the two indicators that we are using to locate and identify the best stock from the daily forecast that the algorithm generates on a daily basis. So let's jump and see how the forecast is actually look like. And after you signing in, and this is how you get the forecast. We can see, as Yaron said, the 6 time frames from 3 days to 7 days to 14 days, 1 month, 3 months, and even 1 year. And in each and every time frame, we have the best 10 stock to buy and the best 10 stock if we have enough stock to sell or short. And so if we want to invest for a period of 1 month, we will look for the 1 month period and see which stocks are the best to invest in for the next following month. We'll choose it by the signal and by predictability. first, we're gonna try and focus on the most predictable asset. As we can see here, the assets that have the highest value in the bottom left corner of each and every square. And then we'll try to find the highest signal values. So combining the predictability and the signal will give us the best result. Try to focus on the longer time frames. In there, we have, as you can see, the highest values of predictability. The predictability is higher on the longer time frame. As you can see here for the 1 month, 3 months, and 1 year, if we're comparing it to the shorter time frames of 3 days, 7 days, and 40 days. And again, some stocks can appear in multiple time frames. I mean, you can see some stock that will be in the 7 days, the 14 days, the 1 month, and even the 3 months. That's a good sign. I mean, we are looking for stocks that are appearing in multiple time frame, and it helps us to focus on the best stock if they appear in a multiple time frame. So that's in a general look of how the forecast looks like and what you are getting before the trading starts. And let's see some examples from July. In the next, just in the last week and even last days, we can find that the algorithm gave us a prediction for 3 days. We can see the time frame over here in the top left corner of the forecast. This forecast was generated on July 14, as we can see the date up here, 2025, of course. And we can see the best 10 stocks that the algorithm suggests us to buy and hold for the next 3 days. To the right in the table, we can find the performance of those 10 stocks. And as we can see to the right here, from the 14th of July until the 17th of July, those were the performance of those stocks. For example, BTCM moved 6% in those 3 days. Coin and BTBT actually moved 20% and 6%. And the average of this entire forecast was 3.9, while the S&P moved 0.6 at the same time. In this specific forecast, we also get the forecast about the S&P 500 index itself. This is a top 10 package, and we'll talk about this kind of package later on. But we can see and find that from the 14th of July, we can see a lot of crypto related companies, such as coins, such as BTBT, that also are actually using artificial intelligence. We can see Riot and CLSK, that both of them are actually, all four of them actually are using and related to the cryptocurrency and crypto world. And that's interesting because we saw some really major movement of the Bitcoin in the last month, and we're going to talk about it later on. And another forecast that we can find is for the 7 days. That was generated on July 13, 2025. And we can see the performance of those 10 stocks, again, with the average of 3.22 for a 7 days time frame. Of course, we can see some stocks that didn't move to the right direction, as we can see here, BITF or IBP, but the majority of the stock moved to the predicted direction and had a really nice, really good performance in a period of 7 days. If we are jumping to the 14 days time frame, again, we can find the predictability and signal of each and every stock here. And we can see, for example, BTBT in this specific universe had the highest predictability. We can find the predictability here. It's 0.36. And it actually has a really good signal as well of 4.49. And how do I know it's a good signal? I look at the other stock signal as well, and I can see that if the average signal here is around 1, and BTBT has 4.49, that's pretty high for this specific universe. and we can see that actually BTBT jumped by 30% in those 14 days. And we can also find here MIIP, which we saw earlier, that moved 100% in those 14 days. Of course, this package is more volatile than the normal packages, but we can find that the average of those 10 stock was 25% in 14 days, while the S&P actually almost didn't move. So that's really interesting to see. Even in the 1 month time frame, we can find a lot of stocks that move with the actually really high numbers. Again, we can find the BTBT here. We can find the RFL, Rafael Holdings, which actually invest in biotech and try to find the cure for the cancer development. So we have AYTU and ILPT, and a lot of interesting stocks from different universe. And we can see that the average also was really high of those 10 stocks.
As you mentioned, what's fascinating here, Ben, is that already 1 month ago, we started to see the first signals, the first bullish signals for the Bitcoin, as we can see here with the BTBT. And same goes with the 14 days forecast as we saw before. Again, BTBT, BITF, and also in the short term, of course, in the 7 days forecast, we have seen also BTCM, BTBT, of course, Coinbase, Riot, CLSK, as you mentioned. And of course, we see it also in the short term, in the 3 days forecast, I think. So from the 1 month till the very short term forecast, we have seen the bullish forecast for the Bitcoin. I think you're going to talk about that also later on in this webinar.
Yeah, and if we are jumping into the 3 month forecast that was actually generated on 20 April and was up until today, up until the 20th of July, actually, we can find some really interesting stock such as AMD and NVIDIA, KLAC, Microsoft, ASML, JBL, and we can see the giant returns that they actually produced in these 3 months. And the average goes to 37% and almost doubled the S&P return in the same time. And even for long-term investors that are seeking for long investment time frames of 1 year, you can find in your forecast on a daily basis this forecast of a 1 year. We can find Shopify, we can find the Bank of America, TSM, Goldman Sachs, and many more in this forecast that also generated really, really good returns for a period of 1 year. And we can see here that the signal and the predictability are in the highest values. We see 0.76, 0.79, even 0.8. And we can see that the signals are also pretty strong. So that's why we are suggesting to focus on highest signals and high predictability values in the forecast. All right, so let's jump for some example from the latest days. We have a really interesting packages that I think that are relevant to this time. For example, AI package. It's actually that the AI is picking AI stocks. It's a funny universe that we live in. But the AI package, we can find the best AI stocks or AI-related stock that the algorithm is suggested to hold for a period, in this case, for 3 days. And this forecast was sent to our clients on Friday, again, on Friday before the trading start. And what's interesting here is that we see that the S&Ps actually didn't move or was a little bit negative. The companies that were suggested to buy had all a positive return. We can find interesting stocks such as KTOS, which is manufacturing of drones. And we can find RBLX, SE, Shop, and Snap. All of them had a positive return in Friday. So that's interesting to see. While the market was almost negative and or didn't move, the algorithm actually identified stocks that have a positive return. And in the longer time frame of 1 month, we can also find AI-related stocks such as NVIDIA, Amat, Kaitos, Net, Rocco, STNE, really interesting stock that actually did some really significant return in the 1 month time frame that we see right now on the screen. So AI, we're going to talk about the AI sector in a while, but the AI is a really hot trend sector, a lot of interesting stocks, and we see a lot of money from many institutional players are flowing into the AI sector. Also, government money being invested in those AI companies. So I think this package is super relevant and super interesting for 2025. Another interesting package that was actually suggested by us in the last webinar. We talk about the BAS package. The BAS package is actually focusing on the most popular stock and the stocks that are mentioned a lot on digital media or social media. The ones that are mentioned the majority of times, the many times in those in the media. So we can find stocks such as Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, all the Magnificent Seven actually, Palantir, Cusco, Amazon, Visa, Broadcom, AppLovin, SoFi, and many others, as you can see here on the list. And to this interesting trending list, we actually added the Bitcoin prediction. So you're getting on top of those stocks, the Bitcoin prediction, the gold prediction, and the silver prediction, as you can see here. So this interesting package have a really good return, or the BAS, which is a really popular ETF, has a return of 31% from the beginning of the year, as we can see here. And we can see what's happening here from April, when this specific package or specific universe made almost 60%. And really interesting to see the stocks that are in. And we can see here in the forecast for 3 days, for example, stocks such as SoFi that surged in the last few months. And we can find the Bitcoin forecast here. Again, you can see that the algorithm actually gave the Bitcoin a really positive prediction. We can find Coin, that is really interesting company right now. We can find MSTR that holds a lot of Bitcoins, or I think it holds the most Bitcoin in the world, the company that holds the vastest number of Bitcoin in the world. We can find the AMD and many other stocks that are from the BAS universe. And into the right, we can see for the 14 days time frame, and see some stocks such as RBLX again, and Chipotle, SoFi, Microsoft, AFRM, Coin, really interesting stock that everybody talks about in a coffee break or between friends, and friendly stocks that I think that have a lot of potential in 2025 as well. And this is why I really like this specific package. And also we can find it for 1 month. We can find stocks such as NVIDIA, again, the Bitcoin. And here, something pretty amazing. You can see that the Bitcoin, BTC USD that you see here, was actually suggested by the algorithm on the 15th of June for a period of 1 month. And that's pretty amazing because this asset has the highest predictability out of all those 10 assets that we can see here. So the algorithm can read and forecast this specific asset really good, and gives it really high predictability and a good signal, which makes it a really good investment in 15th of June for 1 month. Also, Robinhood, we saw that it actually moved by 37% from the 15th of June 2025, and a pretty interesting company as well, particularly in the last few months. And we can see that it also really succeeded to generate a really high return in a short period of time. So this is the BAS package. Again, I think is super relevant these days. And another thing that is relevant is the aerospace and defense sector. XAR, if you don't know it, you should. Since Trump got up to be a president of the US, we can see though that this aerospace and defense sector is rocketing, and we can find from the beginning of 2025, 43% in this specific sector, which is quite amazing. And we know about it first. Yeah, we told you in the last webinar, who was here in 22 June, we showed you the best sector to be in the last month, and we can see that XAR was one of them. And just in the last month, this specific sector made 12.6%, and I think it's pretty amazing. Out of the 10 more strongest signal from this index and sector universe. And we're gonna see, by the way, what's the forecast for the next month in the end of this webinar. So we have this specific package of XAR, which means that the algorithm is scanning all the stocks that are in this specific sectors. In this ETF of XAR, we can scan all the stocks that are inside and give you the best stocks to invest in for a period of 6 time frames, as we saw earlier. In this specific package, we can find, for example, the stock RKLB, Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab, a really interesting stocks that actually company that manufacture small satellites, and we can see that in the 1st of June, this company was in the top of our forecast for a 1-year prediction. Right, we can see that it has the strongest signal. I don't give you all I don't show you all the stocks that we have here. I'm just giving you a taste for the 1-year forecast. And Rocket Lab actually made from the 1st of June 92%. And look at this chart. The algorithm gave it a really strong signal here. Nothing really actually significant happened here if we're looking at the chart. But then we can see what happened in the next few weeks. And the company has made 92% in a period of 1 month and a half. So it's pretty impressive. We can also
space,
find,
right?
Sorry?
It went to the space, right?
Went to the space. Yeah, it's actually manufacturing satellites and trying to get to the space.
Yeah.
And we can see that another small, nice company called the KTOS is also here in this specific package, which also made 61% from the beginning of June, which is also quite amazing. So aerospace and defense has been one of the leading sector in the S&P 500 and in the American from the American sectors for a while now. So I think it's still super relevant, super interesting, especially when Trump around. And another really interesting and unique package that we have is the ETF package. To investor that doesn't like to invest in specific stock, or maybe want to get some lower risk, you can find some interesting ETF here. The ETF from the US ETF universe, and we can see some examples here from the beginning of the year, from March 5 of March, as we can see here. And what interesting here that the algorithm actually gave us a lot of European ETF and gave the weight of the portfolio to Europe, and that we saw that from the beginning of the year, Europe outperformed the US market and actually dominated until mid-April. And then we saw some changing in this universe, and see that the US ETFs are back to lead the forecast. And we can find here the semiconductors universe. We can find the XSD. XSD semiconductors equal weight. We can find the stocks, which is the semiconductors. XLK is the technology sector, VGT, XAR that we just talked about, and also other regionals such as EWT, which is the Taiwan, and many other interesting ETF that outperform the S&P, as we can see here, like 10 out of 10 outperform the S&P index in this specific forecast from June 18. So ETF package, I highly recommend. It's giving you in your portfolio, it's diversing your portfolio geographically. It's diversing it from sector to sector, and you can be exposed to a lot of interesting sectors in the US market, or even in globally. So ETF package is one of my favorite.
I strongly agree with you. Actually, the ETF is providing also, a stock market intelligence component. So it could be very interesting to combine it with, on one end, to have the ETF package in order to identify the leading sectors, the leading regions across the globe. And also, by the way, the bottom is also very important because it's providing you insights which sectors and regions you should avoid, basically, and to combine it with a stock picking package that align with the sectors that you see in the ETF package. You can do you can actually focus on the best universes if you're taking into account the leading sectors that appear in the ETF package, actually.
Yep, and this is a really popular package, the ETF package, and again, as mentioned, one of my favorite. And this is one of your own favorite packages. This is the top 10. Top 10 package actually holds stocks from the S&P 500, from the Nasdaq, and from the Russell 1000. It has a large pool of stocks, and the algorithm is actually scanning this huge pool of stocks and giving you the best opportunities out of the US market, basically. And adding to those forecasts, we have also in this specific package, only in the top 10 package, in the top 10, top 20, and top 40, we have added a forecast about the index, about the S&P 500 index itself. As we can see here, we have those 10 stocks, and we have the S&P 500 in the middle of the forecast, that we see that the S&P is actually positive for the next month, and we can see that that was a good prediction, and the S&P went up by 5%. But I want to talk about the stocks that we see here, which are super interesting. For example, of course, the VRT, to whom of you which doesn't know, which is a special stock out of the Russell 1000, and it's actually works in cooling the computer servers. It actually has some contracts with NVIDIA, and looks really good. It looked really good in the past few weeks. We can find here AMSC, American Superconductor, which also makes solutions for turbine technology. We can find the Hood that we talked about earlier. We can find THC, which is actually a healthcare company. And we can find IESC that actually provide electrical and infrastructure services for many industries. And TSM that we all know, and Katos that we already talked about it. So it's actually taking stocks from different universe and combining into one package. So the top 10 is one of our leading packages and the most popular package out of them all. So remember that.
Another fascinating thing about this forecast, by the way, is Camtek, the stock that we see on the first place. We need to remember this forecast was generated on June 18th, only 5 days after the war between Israel and Iran started, and the AI algorithm decided to rank in the first place Israeli stock, Camtek, that being listed in the US market. And it's quite, I would say, unique forecast. And we can see the results after 1 month, 24%.
Yeah, it looks really good with the highest signal and pretty good predictability as we can find here of 0.5. Again, 0.5 predictability means around 75 probability that the asset will move to the predicted direction. So that's about the top 10. And now I'm gonna actually suggest you our special webinar sale for the next 24 hours. We are suggesting 1+1 for $299 a month. You can choose and combine between two packages from all the packages that we saw now and the packages that we have in our website. And you can do that without any commitment and you can cancel it anytime. Just try the product for 1 month and you're getting two packages. You can combine, for example, the top 10 and the best AI stock. You can combine the ETF with the BAS package, and you can choose any two packages that you want for $299 per month. And that's our first webinar sales for the next 24 hours. And I recommend taking, for example, the ETF or the S&P 500 universe and combine it with something more volatile, such as the BAS or maybe the option package that we haven't talked about yet, but it's a more volatile universe. So combining between risks can be interesting also in this specific sale. And now I want to talk about to whom of you that doesn't really like to, pick up stock on a daily basis or a weekly basis.